Hi guys! Welcome to our vlog. Hi guys! Welcome to our vlog. So in this vlogs, we will talk about the air compressor and its contents. So, before we discuss this, where do open find an air compressor? So, we can find an air compressor on the ship. So, what are you waiting for? Oops! Akala nyo, nag-iisa ako, no? Nagkakamali kayo dahil may kasama ako, si Lawrence
Hi.
at si Jericho.
Hi.
So, let's go with us on the ship. Let's go! So guys, we are here on the ship where the air compressor is located. And again, kasama ko muli si Lawrence
Hi.
at si Jericho.
Hi.
So guys, simulan na natin pag-usapan about the air compressor system and its contents. So, let's go!
Hi! Ako nga pala si Ralph Lawrence Obias from Section E, S1A1. At sa part ng video na ito ay tuturo ko sa inyo kung paano gumana ang isang air compressed starting system. So, bago ako mag-start, may nakakaalam ba kung ano ang air starting compressed system? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! So, may nakakaalam ba? Kung wala,
Mga bobo!
so, ano nga ba ang compressed air starting system? So, ang air compressed starting system ay isang power source na ginagamit natin para mag-provide ng initial rotation para mag-start ng large diesel and gas turbine engines. So, bilang isang marine engineering, kailangan natin magka-knowledge about dito kasi hindi natin alam kung kailan tayo magkakaproblema sa isang part ng engine na ito. So, let's get started with the parts and function of air compressed starting system. So, the first part of an air starting compressor system would be the compressor. So, compressors are used to suck air from the atmosphere or ito ay humihigop ng air mula sa labas tapos kino-compress nito sa loob. So, dinideliver nito ang air sa isang air bottle or receiver. So, let's talk about delivery valve. So, delivery valves naman, ito ang nag-a-allow ng flow ng compressed air mula sa discharge side ng compressor sa isang pipeline na papunta sa receiver. So, let's talk about the receiver or the air bottle. So, ang air bottle ay isang pressurized air mula sa compressor. So, ito ang i-store ng ating mga pressurized air na galing sa hinigop ng compressor. So, the fourth part would be the air filter. So, an air filter is a device before the suction of the compressor. So, ito ang nag-filter out ng mga dust or vapor mula sa atmosphere. Kasi, importante maging clean ang air na ma-receive ng compressor kasi pwede tayo magka-problema dun sa ating compressor or sa ating air starting system. So, the first part of an air starting compressor system would be the compressor. So, compressors are used to suck air from the atmosphere or ito ay humihigop ng air mula sa labas tapos kino-compress nito sa loob. So, dinideliver nito ang air sa isang air bottle or receiver. So, let's talk about delivery valve. So, delivery valves naman, ito ang nag-a-allow ng flow ng compressed air mula sa discharge side ng compressor sa isang pipeline na papunta sa receiver. So, let's talk about the receiver or the air bottle. So, ang air bottle ay isang pressurized air mula sa compressor. So, ito ang i-store ng ating mga pressurized air na galing sa hinigop ng compressor. So, the fourth part would be the air filter. So, an air filter is a device before the suction of the compressor. So, ito ang nag-filter out ng mga dust or vapor mula sa atmosphere. Kasi, importante maging clean ang air na ma-receive ng compressor kasi pwede tayo magka-problema dun sa ating compressor or sa ating air starting system. So, the fifth part would be the pressure gauge. So, ang pressure gauge ay isang instrumento na nag-i-indicate ng pressure mula sa compressed air na naka-store sa ating receiver. So, importante na malaman natin kung ano at gaano ka pressurized yung nasa loob ng ating air bottle kasi kapag masyadong madami ang pressure natin sa ating receiver, so the fifth part will be the pressure gauge. So ang pressure gauge naman ay isang instrumento na naka-fit sa ating air bottle. Ini-indicate nito or mini-measure nito ang pressure na nakalagay sa ating air receiver or ang ating air bottle. So, with this, malaman natin kung gaano ka pressurize yung air dun sa ating air bottle kasi pwede tayo magka-problema kapag sumusobra ang air sa ating air bottle. Pwede rin tayo magka-problema kapag kulang ang pressurized air dun sa ating bottle. The sixth part will be the drain valve. So, the drain valve is used to allow water and sediment to be blown out of our air bottle. So, in some form, para na rin siyang air filter. Naglalabas siya ng sobrang elements na tulad ng water or any kind of debris na nakapasok sa ating air receiver or air bottle. So, importante ito kasi hindi kailangan ng air compressor na mag-receive ng iba pang klase ng bagay. Kailangan ng nire-receive lang nito ay tubig lang talaga. Hindi tayo pwede mag-supply ng iba pang klase ng elements. So, the seventh part would be the pressure regulating valve. So, as its name suggests, it regulates the pressure from our pressurized tanks or air bottles. So, pwede siya mag-increase or decrease ng ating pressure sa nakadepende sa ating required pressure kung saan natin to gagamitin. So, that would be our parts and function of our air compressed starting system. So, let's head out to our other topic that would be the procedure in starting a compressed air system in a institutional machine. So, let's get started with our first step. So, ang first step natin ay mag-start na mag-circulate ng cooling water sa ating compressor. So, ang second step naman natin ay suriin ang ating level ng langis sa ating crankcase ng compressor. So, kung kulang, dagdagan natin. Kapag sobra naman, buwasan, syempre, di ba? So, ang third step naman natin ay tignan natin kung ang unloader natin ay bukas. Importanteng magbukas ito bago tayo mag fourth step. So, sa fourth step naman natin ay tignan kung bukas na ang ating main delivery and inlet sa air bottle. So, kapag hindi pa ito bukas, buksan na rin natin. So, ang fifth step naman natin, to check if the following valve are closed and the air bottle delivery valve is closed too. So, the sixth step would be to check the control valve on the distributor close. So, the next step would be to switch the power to start the compressor. So, the eighth step would be to close the unloader valve. After you've done the procedure, you should wait until the pressure reach 10 kg force per square centimeter. So, after that, if you're wondering how to stop the compressor, there are 5 steps on stopping the compressor. So, the first step would be to check the pressure if it reaches 10 kg per square centimeter of force. So, if it reach that high, if the pressure reached that high, you should stop the compressor and switch off the power. So after you've done that, immediately open the unloader valve. After you open the unloader valve, close all the valves. And the last step would be to stop circulating the cooling water. That's how you stop the compressor. So that would be our compressor air starting system. Let's now proceed to our next reporter.
Hello guys, so in this vlog, we are going to talk about the air compressor system. So let's go! So guys, air compressors are versatile and vital components of any factory or workshop.
Paano masabi?
They become smaller and less bulky in recent years. So, making them more usable in various work situation. These are highly useful, portable machine that power single air tools. So, so guys, the main advantage of air compressor is that they much more powerful than regular tools, and they don't require their own bulky motors. So since the only real maintenance that required of them is a little bit of oiling. A variety of tools can be powered by a single engine that utilize air pressure for maximum potential. So guys, how air compressor systems works?
Ang galing mo pala dyan ah.
Air compressors work by forcing air into a container and pressurizing it. Then, the air is forced through an opening in the tank where pressure builds up.
Paano masabi?
Think of it, guys, like an open balloon. The compressed air can be used as energy as it release. So so they are powered by an engine that turns electrical energy into kinetic energy. So it's similar to how a combustion engine works using crankshaft, piston, valve, and head and connecting rod. So from there, the pressurized air can be used to power a variety of tools. So some of the popular option are nailers. Some popular option are nailers, impact wrenches, sanders, and paint sprayers. So guys, they are different types of air compressor, and each one has a different specialty. Generally, the differences are to severe. It all boils down to the way a compressor handles air displacement. So guys, there are two methods of achieving air compressors:
Ang galing mo pala.
positive and dynamic displacement. So, each method has several subcategories which we cover below. The outcomes are relatively similar, but the processes to achieve them vary. So, uh, here's how positive and dynamic displacement works. So guys, first is the positive displacement air compressors. Force air in a chamber where the volume is decreased to compress the air. So, guys, positive displacement is an umbrella term that describes different air compressors that are powered through positive air displacement. Although the internal systems vary among different machines, uh, the method of providing power is the same. So, some types of positive displacement compressors are better equipped for industrial workloads, while other are better for hobbyist or private projects. Here are the three types of air compressors that use positive displacement. So, first is the rotary screw. Rotary screw turn, motion creates vacuum. Air trap, air trap in spaces compressed. Air is forced through rotary screw compressors have two internal screw that rotate in opposite direction, trapping and compressing air between them. The two screws also generate constant movement as they rotate around. So, this is a common type of air compressor and is one of the easiest to take care of. The engines are typically industrial size and are great for continuous use. So second is the rotary vane. Rotary vane, spinning rotors is off-center, arms with self-adjusting length. Air fills the cavity and travels around. Air pressure goes up. Air is forced through output. Rotary vane compressors are like rotary screw compressors, but instead of screw, vanes are mounted on a rotor and rotated inside the cavity. So, the air compressor, the air compresses between the vane and its casing, and it's then pushed out at a different exhaust port. So, rotary vane compressors are very easy to use, making them very popular for private project. So, the last one is the reciprocating piston type. A piston reciprocating compressor uses piston controlled by a crankshaft to deliver the gas at high pressure. These are typically found at smaller worksite and are designed for continuous use. So guys, the next is the dynamic displacement. Types of dynamic air compressors. Dynamic displacement compressors utilize a rotating blade powered by an engine to generate airflow. Um, the air is then restricted to create pressure, and the kinetic energy is stored within the compressors. So, just like with positive displacement compressors, there are two distinct types of dynamic displacement. This is axial and centrifugal. So, first is the axial compressors. Large fans pull in air at high velocity. Stationary fan blades are places to guide the air to the next fan. As the space between fans get smaller, the high kinetic energy of the air causes it to pressurize. Pressurized air is forced through the outlet. Axial compressor use a series of turbine blades to generate air, forcing it through a small area. Although similar to other bladed compressors, axial compressors operate with stationary blades which slow airflow, increasing pressure. So, the second is the centrifugal compressors. High-speed rotating fan pulls air. When air hits the fan, Centrifugal force expels it radically outward. Uh, Air travels around the casing. As the air passes through a diffuser, it slows and increases in pressure. Pressurized air is forced through the outlet pipe. Centrifugal or radial compressors work by bringing air into the center through a rotating infiller, which is then pushed forward to the centrifugal or outward force. By slowing the flow of air through a diffuser, more kinetic energy is generated.
Lamok, 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 lamok.
Air compressor system.
Hi everyone, I am Jericho and Fillartos. Welcome to our vlog. So today I will discuss and explain what is the compressed air system, and also what is a compressor, and also the application of compressed air on a ship. So let's start. So what is a compressor? So basically, the compressor is a machine capable of compressing and delivering air at desired pressure, and it's driven by the prime mover, which is the electric motor. And a compressor takes in atmospheric air and compresses it, delivers the high pressure air to receiver, which is the storage vessel, and from which it may be conveyed by a pipeline or a machine. So next is the application of compressed air on the ship. So what are they? So this is the for control and air and service air application on board ship, and for various automation and controls general service applications, for starting the main engine and auxiliary engines, painting and spraying, and also for operating pneumatic hand tools to as rivet sets or grills. Next is to operate air brakes in automobiles, ram lifts, and pneumatic conveyors. So in air compressed system, there is a type of compressor. It is the positive displacement and dynamic compressor. So in positive displacement, it flows with constant flow, while in the dynamic, it works by a constant pressure. So what are the compressors that include in positive displacement? It is the reciprocating and rotary. And next is in the dynamic. It is the centrifugal and the action. What is a reciprocating air compressor? So it is a positive displacement air compressor in which air is sucked in a chamber and compressed with the help of reciprocating piston. What is a rotary screw compressor? So a rotary screw compressor is a type of gas compressor, such as an air compressor that uses a rotary type positive displacement mechanism. That's why it included in the positive displacement on the types of compressors. So next in the type of compressor is the dynamic, which includes the centrifugal compressor. So what is the centrifugal compressor? A centrifugal compressor is achieve a pressure rise by adding kinetic energy or velocity to a continuous flow of fluid through the rotor or impeller. So next is the axial compressor. So this compressor have an axial flow, and the air of the gas passes along the compressor shaft through the rows of rotating and stationary blades. The blades convert the kinetic energy to pressure, and balancing the drum is built into the offset of the axial thrust. So that is the axial compressor. So I have here a video clip that I've been taken on the YouTube. So it shows on how the air compressor works,
it can help us to see what are the actual process on compressing an air inside the air compressor.
In a single crank, single acting compressor, the low pressure and high pressure pistons are connected in tandem to a single crank. In low pressure stage, when the piston moves down, the atmospheric air is inducted. The compressor air from the first stage flows to the second stage through the intercooler. The pressurized air is inducted into the second stage. As the piston moves up, compression takes place in both stages. The high pressure air from the second stage is delivered through the aftercooler. In a single acting, two crank compressors, the low pressure and high pressure pistons are connected to two separate cranks. As the low pressure piston moves down, air is inducted through the air filter. When it moves up, the air is compressed and delivered to the second stage through the intercooler. The air is further compressed in the second stage and high pressure air is delivered through the aftercooler. In a double acting compressor, compression takes place during the upward as well the downward stroke of the piston. In this arrangement, the low pressure first stage piston is at the top and the high pressure piston is at the bottom. In the first stage, as the piston moves up, air is compressed and the compressed air is inducted into the second stage. When the piston moves down, the pressurized air is further compressed in the second stage. In the meantime, the low pressure stage inducts fresh air from atmosphere to an air filter. In this way, the process is cyclical. In three-stage compression, the air is inducted at the first stage, compressed, cooled by the intercooler, and delivered to the second stage. In the second stage, the air is compressed further and delivered to the third stage. In the third stage, air is compressed to the required pressure and delivered through an aftercooler. When the piston moves up, air is compressed in the first and third stages, whereas air from the first stage is inducted into the second stage.
So that's all in the video. I hope the video helped us to see the actual operation of the air compressed system and how it works. So that's all on our vlog. Thank you and peace. I'm out.